All right, so here we want to solve this equation. We have 0.4 times, in parentheses, 2x minus 1 equals negative 0.06 times, in parentheses, 3x minus 3. Okay, so once again, we see the parentheses, and we see the decimals as well. Okay, so there's a couple ways to solve this, but in this case, I think I'm going to eliminate the decimals here. Okay, so remember, decimals are just a power of 10. Okay, so if you multiply these by a power of 10, we should be able to eliminate these decimals, right? Now let's look at this guy here, right? We call this 4/10. Okay, and what about this one? This is 6/100, okay, or 6/100. Okay, now remember, by the properties of equality, we have to multiply everything by the same number. So in this case, we want to multiply this term, okay, and this term by 100, okay, not by 10. Okay, so if you notice, if you multiply both sides by 10, yeah, that will eliminate this decimal, but not this one here. Okay, so let's multiply both of these by 100. Okay, so I'm just going to put these in parentheses here. Okay, so we get 100 on both sides. And notice what happens, right? Here, 0.4 times 100, that means we have to move this decimal place 2 spots to the right. Okay, so that means this becomes 40. Okay, and what happens here when we multiply negative 0.06 times 100? That means we move the decimal place 2 spots to the right. That actually just becomes negative 6. Okay? So what we've done is, well, we've multiplied every term by the same number, in this case 100, and we have successfully canceled out the decimals here. Okay, so now we should be able to solve this as we normally do, right? So we'll distribute through the 40 here. So we get 80x minus 40. And on the right side, we get negative 18x plus 18. Okay, when here, what should be the next step here? Okay, so we want to combine like terms. Now we do have the equals, right? So we have to move terms from one side to the other. Okay, so here I'll add the 18x on both sides. So here the 18x will cancel out. Okay, so we end up with 98x minus 40 equals 18. Okay, so now remember, we want to solve for x, right? We want to get the x by itself. So that means this 40 or this negative 40 should be added to the other side, right? So let's add 40 to both sides. Okay, by doing so, the 40 cancels out here. Okay, notice what we end up with here. We get 98x is equal to 58. Okay, so what is going to be the last step here then? Right, the last step, remember, we want to solve for x. Okay, so let's divide both sides by 98. Okay, so what's going to happen here on the left side? Well, 98 divided by 98, that's just equal to 1. Right, so we are left with the x, which is good, right? We want the x by itself, so we get x is equal to 58 over 98. Okay, now this is a fraction which we can reduce, right? If we divide both the numerator and denominator by 2, right? 58 divided by 2 is 29, and then 98 divided by 2 is 49. And then unfortunately we cannot reduce this anymore, right? But that's okay, right? This is our answer. Okay, so in this case the solution is x, which is equal to 29 over 49.